folks, Jose here for another video tutorial for wpbasics.org. In today's tutorial, we will build on the two previous tutorials and talk a little bit about HTML elements. An HTML element is an individual component of an HTML document or web page. HTML tags are the names of elements surrounded by angle brackets. This illustration should help to clear things up. In this example, we can see that we have an opening and a closing tag, a tag name, and some content. Most tags appear this way. There are a few that don't, and we'll cover those as we progress. But for the most part, this is the format of elements within the body of HTML documents. HTML tags normally come in pairs like H1 and with a closing tag of H1. The first tag is referenced to as the opening tag, and the second tag is referenced to as the closing tag. The end tag is just like the start tag, except that it has a / before the tag name. By now, we should be clear on what a tag is and the parts that it is composed of. We have already touched on what headings are, but I just want to briefly cover a few things about headings before we move on to other elements. HTML headings are labeled with the tags H1 up to H6 tags. The H1 tag is usually used to define the most important heading on the page. The importance of the heading decreases as the number increases. Try not to overuse the H1 tag, as the correct use of the heading tags is important for users that use screen readers. Screen readers are usually used by individuals with visual impairments. So let's go back to our text editor and clear out the content of the body and replace it with a bunch of heading tags to illustrate what they look like in a browser. Go ahead and create heading tags from H1 to H6. Now go ahead and refresh your browser screen to see what you have. Very good. Now that we are clear on what heading tags and paragraph tags are, let's move on to our next element. HTML links are something that every web page uses. They are labeled with A tags. This is commonly referred to as an anchor tag. Go back to your text editor and create a paragraph that says, "Learn about WordPress at wpbasics.org." Save your code and refresh your browser. You can see that the word wpbasics.org, but clicking on it doesn't do anything. Let's replace it with a link. Go ahead and delete the word wpbasics.org and replace it with an anchor tag like so. Now go ahead and add the property href right after the first letter A. The href that you see refers to the destination web page or the URL where you are going to go. So inside the quotation marks, you would enter the web address of the page you want to open. In this case, we will type https://www.wpbasics.org. In between the opening and closing tags, let's enter the text to be displayed as a link. In this case, we will type wpbasics.org. Let's save our code and refresh our browser. sorry, I typed it in wrong, space here. So let's move this here, it goes in between the A's. So just put it here, save the code and refresh. And let's click on our link page to make sure it's working. Here we go. And there it is, it's working. But what if we wanted the link to open in a new page instead of the old page? This is very common. All we have to do is add an attribute called target. We can enter it like this. We go here to where the attribute, where the web page is here, and just after it put a space and just write in target equals blank. Let's save that and let's go back to the page and refresh this and then click on that link once more, and we can see that now it opened a new tab instead. Images are other things that most web pages have. HTML images are displayed by using the img tag. Add an img tag that looks like this to your web page. Opening less than sign img, and then we're gonna write src equals, and I have a file named Angry Bird, so I'm gonna put that in there. Angry _ bird.png, and then I'm gonna put alt equals wp, correct this, wp basics, and then I'm gonna close the tag like this. The src refers to the source of the file. If the image file is saved in the same folder as your index.html file, just enter the file name. I have an image named angrybird.png. I will use this as my source. The alt refers to alternative text. This text is usually displayed when the image cannot be displayed for some reason. Let's see what we have so far. Save your code and refresh your browser. Here we have our Angry Bird. But what if we wanted to display an image that is not in the same folder as the index.html file? Maybe we wanted to use an image from the web. No problem. Let's find an image on Google. So let's go here to our search engine and let's just type in yellow bird. And let's go to images. I like this guy. So let's view that image. And let's right click and copy the image address. Now go ahead and go back to our image tag from before, and right here where we had Angry Bird, let's replace it with the address we just copied. So let's save our code and go back to our page here and refresh. There we have our yellow bird, looking good. Remember we talked about the alternative text, this thing right here? Let's mess up the URL for the yellow bird by adding an extra P to the hyperlink. For example, let's put it here, HTTP, maybe 2 more P's. Save the code and let's see what happens. We can see that because it can't reach the image, it at least puts the alternative text there for you. So let's fix the hyperlink back to what it was. Save it just to make sure, refresh, and there's our page again. I will be adding some inline styles to this image for demonstration purposes only. I would recommend that you try your best to stay away from using inline styles. It is always best to manage your styles via the CSS file. We will talk more about this a little later in the CSS section of this tutorial. Now, let's adjust the size of the image. You can adjust the size of the image inside the img tag. So right here before src is a good place. You can add a width and a height in here or any other style that you like. It is best to set the width to the desired size and the height to auto like so. So we would put style equals, Then we put width, pardon me. And then we would put, for example, 250 pixels, and then a semicolon to separate it, and then height, and then we can put that to auto. So let's save that and see what happens. There you have it, it adjusted. You can also do the reverse. You can set width to auto, and then the height to 250 pixels. And let's save that and refresh, and we can see it resized. But what if we put a set size for both? What happens then? You can see that the image is disproportionate. So that's why you want to set one of them to auto if you want to keep the same dimensions. Now there are other things you can do to make it smaller or to crop it, but we'll cover that later in the CSS portion of the course. So there are two key elements when we're resizing images. First, set either the width or height to a desired size and the other to auto for good results. And try to use properly sized images whenever possible to begin with. This will make your pages load faster if they're not bigger than they need to be. Well folks, that's it for this tutorial. I hope you found it useful. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.